Hello and assalamu alaikum to another session of Reimaging Education. This is your host Shazia Nasir. We are indeed going through challenging times and we do not know how long these tough and rough times are going to last. So there are two ways. Either we surrender to this faceless monster coronavirus or we deal with it intelligently and kick it out from our lives. For this, we do not only need to take care of our physical health, but most importantly, we have to keep our mental and emotional health in its best form. Today, I'm pleased and honored to have with us an inspiring personality who has been doing awareness sessions about keeping our mental health strong. She is none other than Dr. Faryal Razzaq. She did her post graduation in emotional intelligence. She is the founder and CEO of the FEEEL organization with the triple E, I should mention this. Also, she is the academic consultant, master trainer, startup mentor, member SDPI Community Resilience, and assistant professor. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Faryal.
Walaikum Assalam. And I'm really honored and very pleased to be here as well. Thank you for having me here. So let me explain why the triple E. You want
Yeah,
me
I
to
was just
start with
about to.
that?
I was just about to say, okay, you have to explain first of all what this feel is with triple E. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So it is an abbreviation for the framework for emotions, ethics, empowerment, and life skills. And of course, if you connect the dots, everything that is going wrong in your life has its emotional connection. So
Hmm.
emotions is at the back of everything that you have, the lapses of ethics and the empowerment issues and the life skills that you are afraid to try or get and all that. So emotions are at the heart of it.
Okay. And what does SDPI Community Resilience stand for?
It's a Sustainability Development Policy Institute of Islam, Pakistan, and
Okay.
with creative learning from USA, they
Mhm.
have, selected 20 researchers from KP and Islamabad and Rawalpindi, region, and to work on community resilience against, extremism and anti-terrorism. And I had been honored to be selected as a community member. Not only that, they have given me a grant, a small grant to work on the things for anti-extremism and anti-terrorism as well.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. So you're doing,
Thank you.
your hands are full. So you're doing a lot of work,
Yeah,
so many different
I do.
avenues at the same time. So that's commendable. Okay, Dr.
Thank you.
Faryal, again, it's I think you have been conducting a lot of sessions, and everywhere there must be the basic question: shifting our classes online. What
Yes.
are your views about? Suddenly there is a shift. Okay, now we are going to go not face to face, but online, virtual.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about it? What is your
Uh,
experience?
I would say that it was bound to happen sooner or later. What Corona did was, as being a catalyst, it expedited the process. I used to tell all my students that the future of university is not brick and mortar, and it is the tech revolution. As we know that we are going through this industrial revolution 4.0, and it was bound to happen. But my prediction came, in a very not the way I would have envisaged when I
Yeah.
was predicting it, because
Hmm.
nobody knew that Corona is going to strike and shuffle the way we think and work and even live our life anymore. So
Hmm.
it's post Corona world. So we need to understand that the future of education was never supposed to be, with the technological revolution, the artificial intelligence revolution, the same that we used to, and that the traditional education system had to evolve. And now,
Hmm.
the Corona, we must say it's a blessing in disguise, and for that matter, that it has made the education industry no option but to go online, because
Online. True.
yeah, there's no option actually left for the education industry anymore. So
Hmm.
actually we were not prepared for it. it's not the going out online that is the issue. The issue was we were not prepared for it. And not only the education industry, most of the, if you see the supply chain or the manufacturing industries, they knew that the answer is technological. They knew that they had to shift, online, but the amount of massive effort that was required to make that leap and the shift, they were not ready for that. And what
Hmm.
corona has done is like force them to do it now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we need to approach this very methodologically. I mean, we have to be
Hmm.
very methodological about it, and we
Hmm.
have to understand that we have to enter it, not just survive it. We have
Hmm.
to take control of it. So
Sure, true, very true. We have to take control, as you said, we have to take control of it, and we should not be intimidated by the changes that
yes.
have been done, that we are making. Especially, as I said earlier in my sessions, that education has been hit hard by this because, especially countries like Pakistan, where there are limited resources, so it was really difficult. So this pandemic COVID-19 has, we all know, brought many changes to how you live your life, and with it, uncertainty altered our daily routines, financial pressures, and social isolation. There's an information overload, rumors, and information and misinformation can make your life feel out of control and make it unclear what to do. So, you just tell our viewers how to cope. These are the pressures which we are feeling. Each one of us is feeling these kind of pressures. So, you are an expert on the emotional well being. So, tell us about it, how we go about.
I'm glad that the other byproduct of this crisis is that we have started taking mental, emotional well-being as something important. Because I'm an evangelist for that, that we should be teaching emotion as a core subject, and we have never been taught. And now we can see that whenever we are hit by a pandemic and a, worldwide crisis, we don't know what to do. And
Hmm.
for that, we had to be taught right from the beginning how we feel, how to cope with uncertain situation. So what is happening right now, let me just explain a little bit how our brain works, because this is
Hmm.
how the emotion, we can make the emotion connection then. Our brain actually has one job: to keep our body safe. And how does it do that? Based on the past experiences and the sensory perceptions that we have, it makes predictions. And based on those predictions, our emotions and our emotional states are generated based on the past predictions. And now when we are in the middle of this pandemic, what happens is that our brain has never encountered such situations, so it doesn't know what to predict.
Hmm.
I mean, so what happens? The brain goes into a loop thinking, and it
Hmm.
start making the worst case scenarios for you.
Hmm.
Because based on the films and the things that you have
Yeah.
seen, it can make the worst case scenarios for you. And
Hmm.
when it makes the worst case scenario, you get anxiety and stresses. And above all, right now what we are feeling is anticipatory grief, because we don't even know what we are feeling, because we have
Hmm.
never been taught to actually come in terms with our feeling, because
Hmm.
feeling is such a taboo that it's
Hmm.
not okay. We have been told right from the culturally constrained
Yes.
that it's not okay to talk about your emotions at all. We are
Hmm.
not conditioned for that. So we
Hmm.
even don't can't name the feeling that we are feeling. We don't
Hmm.
know the difference between anxiety. We don't know the difference between stress. We don't know the difference between anticipatory grief. We
Hmm.
don't know disappointment. I mean, what actually we are feeling. And
Hmm.
the very fact that you sit down and just ask yourself what you're feeling is therapeutic. It
Hmm.
has power, because if you don't know what you're feeling, how you're going to even address that? So
True.
the most important thing is you
Hmm.
need to sit down and just
Hmm.
write it down. Make a journal of the
Hmm.
things that what you are actually feeling. Only then you can address the issue. Like different type of emotions require different type of strategies. So
Hmm.
let's say if you're feeling anger, the strategy could not be the same if you're feeling grief.
Hmm. True.
So So nobody is going to go and get inside your mind and
Hmm.
get inside your body to produce cortisols, which are the stress hormones, which are
Yeah.
produced in your body to fight
Hmm.
the situations that is going around. You yourself are producing it by your own thoughts. So
Hmm.
consider your brain as a supercomputer, and your thoughts are the software that run it. So
Hmm.
nobody else is giving you any thought but you yourself.
Hmm.
And the, like you mentioned, the misinformation and the
Hmm.
conspiracy theory, why
Yes.
we
Yes.
are why we are prone to that, because
Hmm.
our mind is on that cyclical loop where it cannot make sense of the world. So what it wants to do is to disregard that this is nothing, in
Hmm.
terms of conspiracy theories. And the people who want attention and they think they're doing something, they put on the wrong information to get clickbaits and some attention because they were feeling lonely or whatever. So
Hmm.
look at the psychology behind the misinformation and the people who are falling prey to the misinformation.
Hmm.
So even the WHO said that misinformation is a bigger pandemic than the
Yeah.
corona right now.
True. True. You're 100% right. And yeah. Please continue.
And this is why it is important that we should know what we are feeling. So,
Hmm.
if we had been taught right from the beginning how feelings work, how your emotions work, so we would have known that we are feeling anxious, we don't know, we cannot make sense of the world. So we are trying to, latch to the wrong concepts like conspiracy theories or wrong information that you drink this potion and magic potions and what not, what
Hmm.
paraphernalia we can spew to make a little sense of the, world around us.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it is very simple that we don't know, I don't know, you don't know, any expert don't know how the things are going to change.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, we
True.
have never been into this situation before. So
Hmm.
what we can do is just control our own self, our own well-being. What is in our hand is our own mental peace, our own well-being. My father used to say, okay, think good and good things will happen to you, and think bad and bad things will happen to you. Shazia, if I ask you right now, become angry. Can you
Hmm.
become angry right now just by my cue? No. You have to
No.
think, yes,
Yeah.
you have to think angry thoughts to become angry.
Yeah, true, true. So it means that one needs to be, you have to have a positive mindset all the time. But Dr. Faryal, as you said, that our, from the very beginning, especially, the area in which we are living, our minds are not being conditioned to express our feelings. Okay, so that's been done. Now what? Now at this moment, what are the strategies to say, okay, to remain positive? It's just, maybe you can understand, I can understand, very few people can say, but those people who are going through a lot, like especially those people who are the daily wages, who are facing a lot of difficulties, they are not having they don't have enough food to put in front of their children. Just, say, okay, you have to have think positive, and then, so what strategies can they have, or what do you think they can calm down a bit and think, because once you calm down, you think better in a better way. So what do you
Definitely.
think about that? How you can, what
Let
are the strategies they can adopt, most of the
Okay.
people?
Let me first tell you, okay, it's a fallacy that you can be positive all the time, to be
Hmm.
honest. I mean,
Hmm.
being human is to err. I mean, being human is you, and it's okay to feel negative. It's okay to feel, unproductive emotions. It's okay. It's not in your control.
Yeah.
And the fact that you tell people that you have to be positive, it's like telling them to control their emotions.
Hmm.
And let me tell you a bad news here, that you can never control your emotions. And
Hmm.
the good news is you can always manage your emotions. So
Hmm.
if you try to control the thing, you're doing something which is impossible, which is beyond human capacity. So
Hmm.
let's come to the basics that you need to manage it. If you are having negative feelings, if you are having negative thoughts, so now what can you do? like I said, you sit down, and most of the time it happens that we don't let that emotion pass through our system. With
Hmm.
every emotion, there's certain kind of hormones and enzymes, and the body system. It's a biological, machine. Your body is a
Hmm.
biological machine. And what are emotions? They are neurophysiological reactions. I mean, these are just chemicals. कोई बहुत शायराना चीज नहीं है ये. It's just a
Hmm.
neurophysiological reaction.
बिल्कुल
So
बिल्कुल.
let that thing pass through your system by acknowledging it. If
Hmm.
you're feeling angry, let it pass through your system.
Hmm.
And let me tell you, the life of that emotion is not more than 90 seconds. It's just any normal emotion has a life of 90 seconds. So the longer you cling to that emotion, you're giving it a life.
Hmm.
2 hours, maybe days and years, maybe. So
Hmm.
it is how much you hold on to that. So first
Hmm.
of all, you realize that if you're grieving, if you're angry, just pass through your system, not start doing, and spewing it on other people.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
realize yourself. And
Hmm.
now, once you have understand what your emotional state is, for every negative thing, every negative scenario, your brain plays, worst case scenario, your brain is playing and giving it to you. Play, at least think of a positive scenario to overcome it. So
Hmm.
whenever you are confronting your own brain with a negative thought, with a positive thought, you're training your brain to think positively. And it's like building a muscle. And anybody can know that you don't build a muscle just in one day.
Yeah,
It takes
it
years
is.
of practice. It takes
Exactly.
years of practice. So
Hmm.
positive thinking, and what's important is that emotional intelligence has a very big component, is self awareness.
Hmm.
And self awareness, वही बात है कि we have never been taught about that. Self
Hmm.
awareness is the ability to see yourself as it
Well,
is,
yeah.
what actually you're feeling, and how others see you, because we have a very distorted view of what others think about us.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
most of the time, it happens that because we are not clear about ourselves. And the
Hmm.
third component of this awareness is how you fit into the world. You are
Hmm.
in a grand scheme of Allah, and you're a piece of mosaic in this beautiful world. So
True.
you have to find your purpose in a big scheme of that. So that's self awareness. How? And there has been a study that has been conducted, and self awareness is linked to uh, performance, and it is linked with the Fortune 500 companies. Most of the CEOs are self aware. So there was a study conducted that how many percent of the population is self aware.
Hmm.
And 95% of the people think that they are self aware, but they were not self aware.
Whatever. Yeah. So,
95% of the people.
wow.
And
Wow.
those who think that they were self aware are the top notch Hollywood actors, the top CEOs of the Fortune 500
Wow.
companies. And you see, the
They
most
were not.
successful people.
Yeah.
The most successful people, actually.
Yeah.
So this is something like Baba Bulle Shah said, that kabhi apne man mein बढ़िया नहीं, कि अपने अंदर तो देखो. Have this journey inside and find who you are actually. So self awareness is detrimental if you
Hmm.
really want to make sense of this post COVID world. Because
Hmm.
right now, when you're supposed to go online, what is happening here?
Hmm.
Because the thing the brain hate most is the change. Because
Hmm.
and there was a saying that there's nothing as dangerous as a perfect safety. And this is
Hmm.
what happened to us. Our safety net was broken just by this COVID-19. The world
True.
is not the same.
The world
Our
is not.
expectations, our futures, everything, it's not the same anymore, because
Yeah.
there is no such thing as perfect safety.
Yeah.
It's evolving,
It's
a change. Yes,
exactly.
please.
It just reminded me of last week, former Secretary of State, U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. He said, and I quote: "The reality is that the world will never be the same after
Yeah.
this coronavirus." I unquote. So our lives will never be the same again, and it feels like that there has been a line drawn between the life before and the life now and the next. So coming to, as you said, that the post COVID situation is going to be, we don't know how it's going to be. So but we can just predict, and we can assume, and we can just put our own comments. So what do you think about, considering that both of us are academicians and we are related to this education sector? So what do you think about how do you see education in the post-COVID scenario?
First of all, I think we need to change our performance criteria. We have put too much stress on the GPA. And to be honest, right now, education is synonymous with the degree and the GPA.
True.
So we need to, revamp the whole concept of the performance here. We
Mm,
are not raising good human beings. And what are the statistics in Pakistan right now? The leading cause of young adult death is suicide. 1 out of 4 people in Pakistan are suffering from mental disorder, and
mm,
this is the post-COVID research I am telling you. So, and the research is that if you have one, mental patient, it affects 5 other people's life. And so we can safely say that the whole of the Pakistan was already being affected by these mental disorders,
mm,
one way or another. And 35% of the women, 35% of the women were prone to, and these are the recorded cases. And there is
mm,
only 1% of the people in Pakistan, those who go to seek, professional help for their mental issues. Just 1% of the population. So if we had more people going, the data and the statistics would be much different. I'm telling
mm,
you the official figures here. So
mm,
before COVID, even long before COVID, World the Health Organization says that by 2020, depression will be the leading health challenge. And by
oh,
2025, it will be the most leading challenge. And
oh,
now, even it is a leading challenge right now.
mhm,
So we have to understand that education, we have to work on the ethics, and have to work on the emotional grooming, and we have to work on the personality development. And for that, we can't teach the 19th century, the theories that were evolved in 1980s to
mm,
the 21st century people. So this
true.
is what we are doing. The things that I read in my MBA, I'm teaching in the MBA right now.
Hmm.
I mean,
So
so
there have to be,
we,
yeah,
yeah,
there have to be
education system has evolved, and the good syllabus, and even the teacher, we still have a teacher centric approach.
mm,
And we all talk about pedagogy, and it's not pedagogy. And I'm surprised to know that most of the academics didn't know that pedagogy is for kids.
mm,
Andragogy is for the adult learning, and we
mm,
have based our all syllabus on pedagogies.
mm, mm,
So there is a lot to be done here, because
mm,
when I use the word andragogy, mostly people don't understand what's that. Adult
true.
learning is experiential learning. And
Mm,
what are we doing? We're still doing that student-centric pedagogical learnings there. And
mm,
and we need to understand that when artificial intelligence came, and if you have a professor who's a robot, he's much more capable than a human,
true.
and professors are going to be replaced by a robot, and sooner or later, mark my word. So you
Mm,
have to understand what are the things where humans cannot be replaced. And
mm,
these are the skills of the future, which is emotional intelligence, connecting, empathy.
mm. Which is lacking a
So
lot in our society. Empathy,
yeah, because
you can see sympathy, but there are very few people who can empathize, and that is bigger than that. So you are very right, and I think, Dr. Yal, I totally agree with you when you are saying that, because in our academics को अगर आप पूरा हमारा सिस्टम लेते हैं, so our students or our children, they are just learning, they are giving the exam just to pass, they are
yeah,
not getting the things from what the real knowledge is. So and
very true.
plus one exam, one test cannot gauge the intelligence of 35 people. एक लाठी से हम सबको नहीं हाँक सकते हैं. That is the main thing, and that is a flaw, the major flaw in our education system, जो हमारे examination system में. So I think we all should sit together and should, और जैसे आपने कहा कि हमारे जो आजकल के हैं, because there is a lot of pressure on the students, GPA अच्छा नहीं आ रहा, बुरा आ रहा है, अच्छा नहीं आ रहा, so you know you need to get them get out of that scenario, and जैसे आपने कहा कि एंथ्रोपॉलॉजी की तरफ हमें ज्यादा जाना है, experiential learning which is going to be helpful in future as well, because future lies in the skills what they are learning,
Yeah.
plus the social, the soft skills, empathy hona, being a good human being, helping each other, have some love inside you. So you know we have become really cruel towards each
Uh,
other.
Sh- Shazia, I don't call them soft skills. I call them essential skills.
Yeah, true,
These are not the
essential.
soft skills anymore,
Hmm.
because these are the skills of the future. Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and Fortune 500 companies, and you go to like a World Economic Forum, they list emotional intelligence, and the next skill of future by 2020, and for 2025, the top 10 skill of the futures had only two components of technology. Rest of them were all soft skills based on emotional intelligence.
See? Yeah.
So these are the skills of the
Hmm.
future which we are not teaching our children,
Hmm.
because we are making them technocrats, technical
Hmm.
knowledge. And
Hmm.
being academicians, we know that what is the simple definition of learning? A
Hmm.
permanent change in behavior is the
Sure.
definition of learning. So there is no change of behavior. So learning is not taking place actually. We are
Hmm.
just imparting knowledge, and we're
And
just
plus,
giving them a degree.
एग्जैक्टली जिस तरह वो हमारे बुजुर्ग कहते थे ना कि तालीम और तरबियत, तरबियत पे बहुत ज्यादा जोर, you know, like my father used to say कि the foremost important thing is health, and then the
Uh,
upbringing, and then comes your education. So you know you need to take care of your health, which is very important, and secondly that the parents and the elders and you yourself, as you said, that we must look into our own hearts inside and think and do catharsis of ourselves कि where are we heading, why are मतलब हम ये कर किस लिए रहे हैं, most of us we don't know why we are here. So these are the questions which we need to get answers from our own self by thinking. So and okay, let's talk about, we have talked about students and teachers and all. What about the parents? They are also being, they are right now they are in a, जैसे कहते हैं ना कि एक वो बेचारे कंफ्यूजन का शिकार हैं कि हमारे बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं या नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं. दे डोंट इवन नो. वो कहते हैं कि ये बैठे हुए हैं कंप्यूटर के सामने, हमें नहीं पता कि ये पढ़ाई हो रही है, ये क्या हो रही है. So, what is your view? What are your views about the parents' mental health? How they have to go about it?
Actually, Shazi, is the whole process of switching immediately to online learning neglected the whole, set of principles for the mental health, because this was not just a normal disruption. It was a pandemic in centuries that happened. I mean, it is a worldwide thing that was going on. So I think we neglected as a part of universities. Universities were more focused on completing the semester than on the
Hmm.
well-being of their teachers or the students. And of course the parents are worried, because everything, they have to be cognizant of their child future. They have to be empathetic about how they're going to survive this pandemic. So instead of shifting and grieving for what we have lost, because we were grieving at three levels actually: what it used to be, what it is now, how it is as constrained, and the future losses that we foresee. So
Hmm.
instead of doing that, we did not give them time enough. And you know that anybody who has suffered any loss or grief, they must have known that it takes time. And we
Hmm.
have not given that time to the teachers, to the students, and their parents. And
Hmm.
trust me, can you just tell me one student? I'm telling my student it's good for your mental health. You have at least something to think about, and don't be, apart from this fact that we are trying to keep their mind focused. there is not good. We should have given them time, and we should have given the teacher the training and the time to recollect themselves and adopt and learn to them. Because the quality of the online teaching is not mostly very, I can say it's a quality work,
Mm.
to be honest,
Mm.
compared to the face-to-face interaction the teacher used to have.
Mm.
The deterioration of the quality of teaching in this online system, because it was haphazardly and immediately, jumping to the bandwagon that our classes were not disrupted and all that. No, the universities have paused for a while, at least few weeks time to think it through and think that their emotions, their human beings we're talking about, they all worry for their loved ones, their own health, their losses. So
Mm.
completing the semester should not have been the priority, which seems to be in this case right now. And
Mhm.
the students, we should have let them at least that emotion or that thing that was so tragic in itself, and it was such a huge catastrophe that we should have given some time to just recollect ourselves. So I think
Mm.
we have been pushing our limits, their limits, and the children in turn. Because when you are pushing somebody's limit, the relationships are bound to get so. The parents, the
Mm.
relationship strains are there to be. And I don't blame the parents, I don't blame the students, I don't even blame the faculty here. It's just that the decision makers should have thought about it, because mental health was never a priority area in any of our bigger decisions. We
Yeah.
never think that it's something to be thought of,
Mm.
because so
And
this is
that
the
should,
paradigm shift.
yeah, and
Yes,
that should have been the topmost priority, actually, to
yeah,
think
that should
about
have
the
been.
mental health of, because physical health we are taking care of, but it's the mental health that we all should be taking care of, our mental health and the mental health of our friends, our loved ones, and everyone. So, one last question, Dr. Faryal, what have we learned from this crisis?
I think we have learned something. It's time to go back to the basics. बहुत हमने we were like thought that we have progressed a lot. Basics, what is that? Hygiene. The only solution to this coronavirus was hygiene. And what does Islam tell us? Excuse me. That sifai nisfi iman hai. Cleanliness
True.
is half of the faith.
Yes.
If we were actually clean people, if we knew that we should be accountable, if we transfer our germs to somebody else and make them sick, we are accountable for that. If simple this Islamic logic of cleanliness, this was the basic that we should have been practicing all along actually. So this highlighted that how unhygienic as a nation we were actually. I mean,
True.
we were coughing, we didn't know how to cough. Only after COVID we knew that we should be coughing in the elbow. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
first time the whole nation learned that how to cough actually in public.
And to
So
sneeze, yeah.
and yes, to sneeze and cough and how to do that. I mean, this should have been the basic hygiene actually. So, and the other thing that is that we were pursuing a very false. I was so busy all the time that I had no time actually. I mean, back to back meetings, back to back events. And then I was home, everything we can do online. And those redundant meetings, those redundant office hours, I would never want to go back to full-time work on an office job anymore. Actually, I like working from home so much. So
Yeah.
given a choice, I would any day choose this life of working from home actually. So working from home is the next big thing that you should be thinking if you want to keep the quality people and the best of the talents you have to have. Because the gig economy has kicked in. I mean, people want to be doing small jobs from their homes on that basis. So this we need to understand. This is has taught that working from home is the option, is the most viable option actually. And
Mm.
then we have learned that uh, how much we think that we were the most progressed and the most technologically of the generation that ever existed in the world, and just one virus puts us down to our knees. This is
Yeah.
what is it. You cannot fight with the nature, you cannot go against the laws of Allah. So at the end, be humble, be and the other thing, when we say social distancing, I started this campaign. Don't call it social distancing. That means you're telling the people to be unaware of their social responsibilities. So I call it physical distancing and social responsibility. You're still responsible for the relations if you're not meeting them. Maintain your distance, but be caring. Keep track of your neighbors, your family, your friends, and all that. So we need to set these are the very subtle messages that we tell the people, and it brings out that survivalist mode, that people become selfish. And we have seen this hoarding and that panic buying and all that, that this is this kind of messages that we send. So I think trying to go back to basics, humanity, hygiene, empathy, these are my things that this COVID-19 has told me, that and prayers, the power of prayers. I mean, you stay humble. So I think this is the lesson that I have learned from COVID, actually.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faryal, and it's been really a pleasure having you. Although there are so many questions that come to my mind, and inshallah, we're going to call you again.
I
But
would.
thank you once again for coming over and sharing your thoughts and your expertise with us. And I think we have learned a lot today how to keep ourselves sane during these pressure times. And to wrap it up, viewers, I can say that from this discussion, what I have learned, and hopefully you have learned, is that yes, we have to keep our physical health strong, but we have to keep our mental health strong as well. And to keep that, we need to start thinking about ourselves, start thinking about, as Dr. Faryal said, self awareness is a must for all of us. But self awareness is to go and dig your heart and see what what is the purpose of your life over here on this planet, and how we can not only sympathize, but the most important thing is empathy. Be humble, be empathetic, be sympathetic, be helpful, be caring for your loved ones, for all those people who are around you, be your students or their parents or your own colleagues. So when we are together in it, we are going to get out of this pandemic in together as well. So thank you, Dr. Faryal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, and have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Faryal.